It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interviews.
There's going to be much higher expectations, sense of awareness of what we bring to the table.
Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Rose, answer. Yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, talking about what's going on in sports today. Recapping a very exciting, needlessly exciting college basketball game last night for the Utah State Aggies, but they were not alone. There were a lot of exciting finishes throughout the Mountain West.
Some of them expected, some of them unexpected. But yeah, one of the more exciting days in the Mountain West, probably of the year. Got the Mountain West some national attention. A lot of people saying, "Yep, there's the Mountain West," and it was some thrilling games. But yeah, two of them unexpected, two of them probably somewhat expected.
Yes. We're also keeping an eye on what's going on in the 4A Girls Basketball Championship as the Ridgeline Riverhawks taking on the Snow Canyon Warriors, number 1 versus number 2 for the championship. Game is going on right now, so if you want to tune in and listen to see how that game is going, we won't be too offended.
Just a little offended.
But it's on 104.5 The Ranch. Dave Simmons, Nick Zollinger on the call. And currently, Ridgeline is leading this one 40-19.
Yeah, pretty dominant game. I was wondering if Snow Canyon was going to give Ridgeline a real run for their money, because Snow Canyon has had a very dominant season themselves, and to have a really good player on their teams like Olivia Hamlin, I think was her name, leading the state in scoring. But Ridgeline, for all the talk of some of the points they can put up, their real strength is just how oppressively good they are on defense.
Well, and they're doing this as a team, too. For anybody who may try to criticize Ridgeline as being Emily Skinner and that's it, she's got 4 fouls. She didn't play much of the second quarter because she had 3 fouls. They sat her down. She just picked up her 4th. And this team continues to dominate the number 2 team in the state without their star on the floor.
If anyone ever accused Ridgeline of being all Emily Skinner, I'd like to have a personal sit down and chat with them and explain, okay, have you watched the Ridgeline girls? Like, you don't win games the way they do with one good player. You do it with 8. And that's
what they have.
That's what Ridgeline has.
Yes. So currently in the third quarter, that game, you can listen to it on CashValleyDaily.com. We've got links for it there. Or if you're in the the local area in Cache County and want to tune in, it's on 104.5 The Ranch. And again, that's in the third quarter. We'll do a look in a little bit later on with what's going on in that game. But if you want to chime in on any of these games, and we'll get into more about what's going on with high school basketball, because there was a boys game involving one of our Region 11 teams last night. So the boys' championship is later this evening. So we'll give updates on that as well a little bit later on. But we always love to hear from you. If you've got something on your mind, 435-339-0321 to chime in on the Full Court Press today.
I've got to give some credit to the 5338 Sports Reeducation Academy and Think Tank and their, quote, near flawless AI predictive engine. And I kind of, I would say justifiably, because I don't know if I was entirely wrong on this, but poo-pooed the idea of Fresno State eclipsing 70 points. And, 538 just texting in saying, missed it by that much. The predicted score was 79-73. Final score was 77-73. For the Aggies. I will give myself partial credit. I said Fresno State. I don't know if I just said San Diego State just now, but Fresno State, they scored 65 in regulation, so I'm going to give myself partial credit on that one because they didn't score 70 points in regulation. But neither did the Aggies. So the Aggies didn't play very well either. And that's kind of the theme of that entire game, is the Aggies basically stumbling their way toward a win and being saved by the skin of their teeth, or not so much that as they were, Darius Brown saving them.
Yes. Yeah, but much closer game than many of us anticipated, considering Fresno State's not had a great season. They had injuries. They were depleted. They didn't have much to speak of in the low post of any size of note, but it was their guards who were aggressive and active, and it made it tough for Utah State.
Yeah, I don't know if Fresno State really did a whole lot to really make this hard on the Aggies, because offensively, there were stretches where Fresno State played fairly well on offense, and there were a couple of frustrating moments where it's like, okay, why are you letting them get to the rim so easily? We saw that. It's like, why? But some of that had to do with the 5-out offense, and when you're playing 5-out, it's harder to stop guys going to the rim. So there was that, but this really just does come down more to Utah State shooting itself in the foot over and over. Because Fresno State shoots, 41% on the game, 42% on the game?
42, yeah.
You should win every game where you force a team to shoot that much, especially when you shoot 52%.
Right.
So the Aggies just couldn't get past their own mistakes. 17 turnovers. Their next closest turnover total was 14. That's setting a new season high by 3 turnovers. And I think it was 16 by the end of regulation, so it was still bad. So this was the Aggies just getting in their own way, because you had guys performing well. You had great Osibor. If he gets 21 points and 11 rebounds, you're happy with that performance every day of the week. And Mason Falslev and Josh Uduje had stretches where they played well offensively. So, the Aggies as a whole, there was never really a point where their shooting percentages dropped below 44, 43%. So they should have run away with this game.
Yeah. Well, and so many trips to the free throw line too. They left a lot of points there.
I think there were several key stats I looked at, and I put this in my recap, where it's they out-rebounded Fresno State by 11 or something to that effect. And shot
10. But yeah.
Oh, it was a 10, yeah. I knew it was double digits, something like that. It was 39, 29, I think.
Yeah, yep.
So, and then free throws is 29 to 12 or something to that effect.
Right, yes.
Obviously some of that in overtime, whatnot, but still. You get those kind of advantages, and you think, okay, you win the game running away. Well, 17 turnovers to Fresno State's 9 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You only make 19 of the 29 free throws. That's you shooting yourself in the foot. Turnovers are largely unforced errors. At least a lot of Utah State's turnovers were. In this case, a lot of them felt like just unforced errors. Bad passes, jump passes, getting yourself in a situation where you just get the ball stripped. And then just missing free throws. Nobody ever forces you to miss a free throw, especially in a gym that was that empty.
Right, yeah.
So there was no reason for the Aggies to be doing those things, but they did. They played down to their competition. But they still won, which is a credit to them. For all the dissing on them that I've done for about 2 minutes, it was kind of like Danny Sprinkle in the postgame was where he basically said, "I wish I could say more positive about this team other than they found a way to win the game." Because you give credit to the team that wins. Yeah. Even for all the stuff that Danny Sprinkle's going to be going over in film, and I'm sure they'll have a very fun film session. But at the end of the day, the thing the Aggies proved is that when they need to make plays, they'll make plays.
Right, and great Osibor made some great defensive plays. Certainly, we know the big shots that Darius Brown made to get it to overtime, and then a big 3-point shot in overtime. But besides that, he had kind of a quiet night offensively until the last little bit.
He hit 5 shots the entire game, and every single one of them came at a pretty crucial time. I mean, the first 3, it was a shot here to extend the Aggies' lead slightly, or I think one of them might have broken a tie, where it's he just hit them at timely moments where the Aggies needed a bucket. They were kind of struggling a bit. Maybe they'd had back-to-back turnovers, and so he'd hit a shot. But obviously those first 3 didn't really move the needle much, except for that, obviously those last 2, which were both massive. where, obviously he hits the 3-pointer at the end of regulation, and then he hits the go-ahead 3 that basically ended up being the game winner with 34 seconds left.
Nuts.
Yeah.
It's total clutch.
He really isn't. Somebody put together a compilation of some of Darius Brown's biggest threes, and, I was thinking this, when I was talking about it on social media in the article, he's been one of the most clutch players, and even I'd forgotten about some of the big shots. Because you think, okay, the UNLV one, obviously the 2 in this one. For me, there was an underrated 3-pointer that he had in the San Diego State game, which took it from 21-18, made it 21-21. Of course, then there was the 3-pointer that Brown hit later in that San Diego State game that put the Aggies up by 6. So, we're on 4 or 5 clutch 3-pointers right there. And there were others. Not all of them were, in super clutch situations. But Darius Brown is, the clutch player on this team. When this team needs a shot, Darius Brown is the one who's hitting it.
Yeah, unbelievable how he's performing in these really tight moments. And there's actually, the NBA uses it as a definition. Games in the clutch, if it's a 5-point or less game, whether the differential between the two teams is 5 points or less in the final 5 minutes of a game, that's considered clutch time in the NBA.
Yeah, pretty much.
And somebody was putting together some stuff there for Utah State, trying to identify clutch performances for the Aggies as well.
Yeah, I think it was a guy named Sean. At least that was his username, or is the I don't know, the account name, whatever the name is. But yeah, it really did show just how efficient Darius Brown has been. He wasn't the leading scorer in clutch time, but he was 50% on 3-pointers in clutch situations, and everyone else was. I think everyone else had made 1 or 2 threes combined between everyone else. Osibor is another guy who obviously performed really well in the clutch, but a lot of his came on free throws, although, funnily enough, he's actually very good on free throws in the clutch.
Yeah, normally.
Yeah, normally. Last night, they missed so many free throws. They were getting into overtime, and I think they missed 3 free throws in overtime. And they missed some free throws down the stretch. I think the Aggies could have tied the game at either 60 or 61. I think it was 61 or something like that, but Mason Falslev missed a free throw. But obviously he was, I don't want to pick on him, but he was the only one that missed free throws, because I think Osibor kept missing free throws. Ian Martinez even missed some free throws, and he's normally a very reliable.
Yeah, right.
Heck, Darius Brown missed a free throw, granted in overtime. Granted, it didn't matter that much because he already put the team up by 4. But still, it's this team couldn't make free throws when they're normally fairly good in the clutch. Even, some of their iffy free throw shooters, mentioned Osborne, in the clutch, generally makes his free throws. Even Mason has generally made his free throws in several clutch situations. But some about being in Fresno made him miss free throws.
Yeah, weird how it played out. But, it was I was looking back on the course of the season. Just there was a close game, and man, it seemed like there's been a lot of these close games for Utah State, and there have been. When looked over the course of the season so far, in games decided by 5 points or less, and I included some overtime games because some overtimes
you should include every overtime.
Yeah,
game.
I included every overtime. So I included 5 points or less and any overtime game. Utah State is 9-1 in those games.
Yeah, you basically have one game, and it was the second game of the season with this team together on the road against a good Bradley team. That's the one time that these Aggies have not made the plays down the stretch in close games. Obviously, they've still lost games, but those are games where they've just been kind of outmatched the entire night and didn't put themselves in a position to win it down the stretch. But when these Aggies find some way, whether in some cases they kind of blow a lead with Fresno State or other times where they get themselves back into the game, think UNLV and others, where as long as the Aggies are in the game in the final couple of minutes, come hell or high water, they're making a play. And my goodness, have they faced some hell and or high water.
Yes. Yeah, they've had some pretty miraculous finishes. The 5-point play, some long distance shots banked in.
Yeah, Darius Brown had his foot like on the M of the Save Mart logo in that arena, which, by the way, Fresno State has like 6 logos on their court.
8968 texting in. Let's just say the Aggies have lucked into about as many games as they were predicted to win altogether. On the other hand, they are a very tough team that know how to win.
Yeah, it's true. Did you read 0298's text?
No.
I know we had some that were kind of left over. I'm presuming were left over from last night's Aggie call.
Yes, thank goodness for Darius Brown.
Yeah, we got that one at about 1:10 p.m. So, thank goodness for Darius Brown, because he's like he hit those shots when they needed him. The Aggies went cold for multiple stretches, which allowed Fresno State in this game. But you need a shot, call Darius.
Yeah, I've had some conversations with people. Some of it was online, some of it just around the office. Just people are saying, "Oh gosh, this team, they keep playing with fire. They're going to get burned." And I have to push back and like, okay, maybe the first few times where this has happened, but this is a pattern now where this team finds ways to win in close games. If you're going to beat the Aggies, you have to beat them by like double digits going away. Otherwise, they're going to find a way to win the game. So, yeah, it'd be nice that some of these games aren't as close as they are, but let's give credit to this team for having the mental fortitude to find ways to win and not collapse and fall apart.
Yeah, they don't fall apart. You do have to just beat this team outright in order to beat them, because nobody's done it any other way. When you need to make a shot against the Aggies, they're generally not letting you. And they'll grab the board, and they'll go up, and they'll hit their own shot, or they'll go to the free throw line. This team has great, clutch ability. You know what? Someday it may end up burning them. The Aggies are probably going to end up losing a game at some point that's close. Well, I mean, chances are running actually pretty slim at this point of that happening, but it is very possible it ends up happening, especially in the tournaments, in the Mountain West tournament, and especially in the NCAA tournament, which we know at this point they're going to. Barring the craziest ending we've ever seen to a season.
Yeah.
And probably the worst, too. Most disappointing, perhaps. Yeah, this team will keep making plays, and that could take them far. If this is really something about this team, they really are clutch, and they really will fight through all these. That bodes really well for the Mountain West tournament, because these are the games that are going to be happening in the tournament all over the place. It's not going to be a team at home. It's just going to be 2 teams on a neutral court, and it just comes down to whichever plays better in the key situations. And Utah State has proven over and over and over and over and over, and however many until I get to 9 times saying this, over again, they prove they make plays when they need to make plays. No matter what they've done the rest of the game, they make plays. It's Tom Brady-esque.
Yeah. It's amazing what they've been able to do in the season that they've had. And the old saying that I've always heard is that the harder you work, the luckier you get. Yeah,
that's the way it is. If you put yourselves in situations to win games, then sometimes you win games, and if you're good enough, you'll always win those games.
Yes, that's right.
That's what the Aggies seem to be.
Let's see. Again, if you want to chime in, 435-339-0321, 0366. I almost pulled a Dr. Pepper Fansville last night and burned all my Aggie gear.
Yeah, that was
everything. Don't do that.
Everything was seemingly falling apart. I mean, myself too. I was about a third of the way through writing a Utah State just lost an embarrassing game article. Had my headline, lead, 4 or 5 paragraphs, and was well ready to write through it. I had the whole article planned out in my head. I could probably still write it. And then I was following along. UNLV goes up by 3 with, I think it was, 7.5 seconds left. And when I watch these road games, I have a weird perspective on the game because I have the game up, and there's a stat broadcast that I follow. And the stat broadcast is ahead of the actual broadcast. So I know what's going to happen on every play before it happens.
Before you see it.
Yeah, before I see it. And so I look over, and it says 65-65. Darius Brown hits 3-point. I'm like, oh. Well, let me watch this. Let me stop writing my article and watch this play. And I watch it happen. I'm like, I knew exactly what was going to happen, at least the end result. And I still don't know if I believed it.
Did you listen to the Mountain West Network? The basically it was the Fresno State play-by-play team.
So I don't think I had the sound on for a lot more of the game than I normally do, because normally I watch him on mute, but I don't think I had it on at that moment.
Well, I listened. My point is just listening after the game. They brought the coach on, and he was so despondent.
I did.
Fresno State's coach, as I would probably be too.
Yeah,
he had the top 25 team on the ropes in his house and should have beat them. But he was saying after the game, the play from the bench was to foul Darius Brown before he got into a shooting position. But I think when you look at the way that play happened, it was great Osabor's screen. It takes away the trailing defender, and the other defender doesn't ever really get there until after Brown is starting to gather and lift to take his shot. So at that point, you can't foul him.
Yeah, I wondered, like, when would you have tried to foul him, though? Because that initial defender, I can't remember exactly what, I want to say it was Weaver, but, like, he had the whole run up on him.
Yeah, he should have grabbed him
like
before he even reached his half court.
Now, the risk there, and obviously this is what I've heard from coaches, is you always want to try and foul him in a position where, like, they can't. Because if you rush up on him and go to foul him, well, he'll just shoot, quote unquote, a 55-foot shot, and that's technically a shooting foul. I've actually seen that get called. But yeah, they just didn't really try to foul him until it was too late. He goes around the screen, and then Darius Brown's already pulling up, from 30 feet, but he's still pulling up, and nearly drew an and one. I know there's some people that thought it was an and one. I didn't necessarily think so. But yeah, it was. There were a lot of people on the Fresno State side who weren't happy by the fact that they didn't foul. But it's always tricky in that situation, like fouling without letting them know that you're about to foul them, because that can obviously get you into a bit of trouble.
We need to take a timeout, but before we do, we're getting down to the closing seconds. There's about 85 seconds left to go in the 4A Girls Basketball Championship. So let's do a quick look-in from our broadcast team that's down there. Dave Simmons, Nick Zollinger on the call, as it's the Ridgeline Riverhawks trying to wrap things up and to get their second back-to-back 4A Girls Basketball State Championship.
You guys are going to have to do the post game by yourself.
As you should.
I'm glad Coach Day's here to add
Me
some
too.
entertainment on the post day. Sorry, you won't have any of your stat music, but.
Oh, no. I'm not even sure I know how to go to commercial. You'll have to remind
me.
me.
Just push that button right there.
That one, got it. And coming back, same one, right?
Nope, game cam.
Oh, jeez. We might just not ever go to commercial, Coach.
Probably the smart thing to do.
Did she make both those?
Yeah.
Chloe White got them both. And underneath to Mumford. She's going to go up and got it.
Yes, sir. Abby Mumford gets her first 2 points of the game as she played a couple of good minutes to give Wallace a break when Brown was in trouble in the first half.
Yep. Wow. Left side, they get it to Croton. She kicks it back into the corner to White. Trying to get it down low to Fanua. She's guarded by Wallace. They do get it down there. She makes a nice pass underneath to Staley, and Staley's fouled by Zollinger. 35 seconds on the clock.
It's all over but the tears,
That's
Dave.
right. Ridgeline leads 58-32. But the tears and the cheers, probably.
Tears and the cheers. Last year, Skyview, Ridgeline was able to defeat Skyview in the championship game by, I think, probably not as wide of a margin, but pretty handily margin in the fourth quarter. This year, doing it again.
Staley gets them both.
No one from the state of Utah really gave Ridgeline a game, with the exception of Lone Peak. They were victorious over Lone Peak by 4.
Is Lone Peak deep into their tournament too?
I haven't looked.
We ought to look at that
really
when we
should.
go to commercial and then try to come back from commercial, Coach.
Look at Lone Peak. Look at where Grantsville finished.
Yeah.
They were in the 3A. I think they were the 1 seed in 3A. Look where Bountiful finishes.
Just Ridgeline just trying to dribble this clock out. Lost it. It was a dangerous pass thrown. by Brooke Smith. And Ane lost it, so that's a turnover there. And 4 seconds remain on the clock. Chloe White is going to give it to Staley, and she'll launch it at the buzzer. And Ridgeline does it again, wins 58-34, and it takes home the state championship crown again. Back-to-back years, Ridgeline victorious.
24-point blowout.
Pretty incredible for these girls. I mean, the run they've been on, really, you could argue that a couple things go differently 2 years ago, and this is the third in a row.
Yeah.
I don't know how you compare teams across eras, and, you know, Fremont's had some really great teams over the years. Judge has had some good teams, but this girls team and this girls program has been one of the most dominant teams.
Lone Peak has had some really good teams,
Yep.
and this team was able to go down there in their gym and beat them. They hadn't lost to a team from Utah.
All right, so yeah, there it is. Congratulations, Ridgeline Riverhawks, victorious, winning their second straight 4A girls basketball championship, defeating Snow Canyon 58-34 down in Utah County at the down at Utah Valley University, and just a tremendous dominant run by the Riverhawks, and just blowing through every opponent that they have faced the last couple of months, and for their third straight appearance in the championship, but this is their second straight championship for the Riverhawks. So congratulations to Ridgeline. We'll take a timeout here in the Full Court Press. We'll do some updates on that and other games, and more of your reactions to the crazy night in the Mountain West last night. Coming up next here on the Full Court Press.
She was there for you on your first day of school, and all those special moments since. Now, Mom needs you. When Mom or someone you love needs home health or hospice, give them the care they deserve. With core values of character, experience, and trust, see why we have been voted Best of Northern Utah. Contact Aegis today, 435-723-9000, or find us on the web at myaegis.com.
Your search for copiers and printers should include Les Olson IT. There you'll find sharp copiers with powerful technology giving you one-click scanning your office software programs. You'll find reliable HP printers that help your work groups get more done. And you'll find Ricoh graphic systems for professional quality prints. You'll find local supply delivery and peace of mind knowing you're covered by the best service in the industry.
Les Olson IT.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can count on a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace to keep you warm inside. York furnaces provide consistent comfort throughout your home. York furnaces are protected by the strongest warranties available. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272 to schedule a free evaluation of your system. Advanced Heating will help you save up to 50% in energy costs this season. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I'd like to invite you to learn more about us. Since 1997, we've been Utah's premier one-stop shop for home medical equipment. What sets us apart at Alpine Home Medical is the superior level of customer service. We provide home oxygen, CPAPs, wheelchairs, scooters, breast pumps, and so much more. Come on down and get to know us.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit alpinehomemedical.com.
Nearly 21 years ago, Cafe Sabor opened their doors in historic Logan train station. With the help of hundreds of amazing employees and patronage of thousands of wonderful customers, Cafe Sabor is proud to have been voted 3 years in a row Cache Valley's favorite Mexican restaurant in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Follow Cafe Sabor on social media for giveaways and promotions. Search Cafe Sabor for a restaurant near you. Thank you, Cache Valley, from your friends at Cafe Sabor.
Hi, John Weiss here. At Heritage Auto, we know how much you value reliability and quality in your car, and there's no better option than a new Ram vehicle. This month, we're celebrating our President's Day sales event with hometown deals on our Ram lineup. In fact, purchase a 2023 Ram 2500 or 3500 heavy-duty pickup truck and get 10% below MSRP while inventory lasts. See why this award-winning lineup of Ram trucks is the toughest and most capable ever. Visit your friends at Heritage Ram, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker. Once again, congratulations to the Ridgeline Riverhawks defeating Snow Canyon 58-34 in the 4A Girls Basketball Championship. It's their second straight championship for the Riverhawks. We'll get into what happened in the throughout the rest of the full bracket next hour in a little bit more detail throughout the basketball playoffs going on down in Utah County. But last night was a dramatic win for the Utah State Aggies. They weren't alone. There were several other games that were closely contested, and it was an exciting night throughout the Mountain West. I get done watching the Aggies, and I switch over to watch Colorado State and Nevada, and that was exciting. Then I switch over and watch San Jose and San Diego State. That was closer than any of us probably predicted. I feel bad that I missed the UNLV and Wyoming game because that was close too.
Yeah, I was actually following that one because I think it was ending kind of in the early part of the Utah State Fresno State game, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I was following, especially because I saw that it was close. So I turned on like the last 2 minutes. UNLV dang near blew that game. They had it more wrapped up than Fresno State did. And they somehow managed to – they committed 2 turnovers in the last, 15 seconds.
Oof.
Let Wyoming come back and tie that one up. Sent it to overtime, but then UNLV kind of dominated overtime for the most part. So made themselves easy on them in overtime. But, yeah, they dang near blew it themselves.
So Nevada, let's get to the Nevada-Colorado State game. Nevada is pretty much in control of the game. Colorado State has stretches where they have these runs and they get it close. But Nevada was pretty much always playing from ahead. But down the stretch, Colorado State closes the gap. They keep fouling. Lucas goes to the line, who's probably one of their best free throw shooters, and he keeps missing free throws. Then Colorado State comes down, hits big shots, and Lucas misses again. Isaiah Stevens comes and hits a crazy fadeaway shot to tie the game. And then this happens as they inbound the ball to Nevada's Lucas, streaking down the court to try to close the game out.
Boys,
okay, we're gonna.
Oh, maybe not. We got too many other things going.
That was still Ridgeline.
Yeah, I forgot to mute the other screen.
Take 2.
Yes, let's try this again. The way that the game ended with Nevada and Colorado State.
No timeouts for the Rams. Lucas fires for the win. Oh! Jared Lucas lost his mind from half court, and it's a party for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, really exciting. He had Darius Brown hit himself an impressive shot, but my goodness, did Jared Lucas one-up him.
Yeah.
Beyond half court, he was like a step and a half beyond half court, way there on the sideline, just threw up a prayer, and well, that prayer was answered. Although I feel like I need to contrast the call of that one with how it sounded to anyone listening on or watching on TV. The call that was made when Darius Brown hit his shot.
Ducell made them both. Bulldogs by 3, 7 seconds left.
Good
Utah
job.
State trying to maintain its national ranking. Darius Brown trying to draw a foul, forces up a 3 and banks it in with 1 second left. Pope, a baseball pass for Colomario. He can't get it. Falslev punched it out of there, and we're going to go to overtime at the Save Mart Center tonight.
It sounds like he was making that call after learning that he had to put down his dog in the timeout before that play happened.
It was so funny listening to that guy because so often he was begging the Save Mart Center. Now would be a good time for the crowd to get loud in this game. Now would be a good time. It's like as if anyone's listening to him and there's like empty seats all around him. Now would be a good time to get loud. Anyone?
Yeah, like it's the Fresno State guys. Like I'm not going to act like they were supposed to be unbiased. They were clearly the Fresno State guys, and they were calling the game for Fresno State. I have zero problem with that. It's just kind of funny.
It was just funny. He kept begging for the crowd to respond.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a crowd there to respond.
I know there wasn't. They kept cutting to the few pockets of fans that were there, which is a shame because you would think you get more Fresno State fans there. They dang near had a chance to see one of their better wins in several years.
Yeah. The Mountain West Conference also put together their own little mixtape of maybe we'll find another exciting call, different exciting call of that shot from Darius Brown, among others that happened last night on a very exciting night in the Mountain West.
Hunter McIntosh. No timeouts for the Rams. Lucas fires for the win. Oh! Jared Lucas lost his mind from half-court.
Guards in the country showing off his insane range. What a game.
UNLV's lead at 3. We're in overtime. Just under 3 minutes left. Whaley's going strong, and he hammers home a dunk.
Need to get this thing off quickly because Fresno State's going to foul. Here comes Darius Brown. Pump fakes the 3. The shot is up good. He baked it in with 1.3 left. What a 3 by Darius Brown to send this to overtime. Oh my goodness, the miracle season for Utah State remains alive.
It sounds like Gerard's losing his voice.
I think he did lose his voice. Like that's what a moment like that'll do to you, where it's just holy cow, that just happened. Which Darius Brown's done that multiple times this season.
Yeah,
just hitting those super important shots. And so a little bit better of a call there from Scotty G.
Yes,
as opposed to I forgot I looked up the name of the play-by-play guy, but
he was just very matter of fact.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah,
it's a shot. It's going to overtime.
Yeah, free basketball.
That would be a good time to get loud. All right, a couple of your texts coming through here on the Full Court Press text line, 435-339-0321. If you want to chime in, 3261 chiming in saying, weren't we the unluckiest team in the country a couple years ago? Basketball gods are returning the favor. Yeah, it seemed like there were there have been some seasons where if it could go wrong, it would go wrong for Utah State.
Yeah, that did happen.
Seemed to be more in the Duryea era.
Yeah, Duryea, he got cursed with some injuries like his final year. He really ought to be commended for what he did with that team, considering how many injuries, because he was kind of doing what Fresno State was, where he was starting small forwards at center and still got that team to the semifinals of the conference tournament. But obviously a little too late for him as far as what he'd done in his tenure.
Right. 9315, never thought that game would be an emotional roller coaster. All that matters to pay rent is just win. And then an animated GIF here. If you're not first, you're last. Remember that. Okay.
Animated GIF is redundant, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. 8968. They did foul Brown, but it was during the shot.
Yeah, I know a lot of people thought it was an and one. I had no problem with that not being called a foul.
He got in his airspace, but I wouldn't say that he really fouled him.
And if he did foul, it would have been maybe on his left arm. And mind you, I didn't go back and look at it super close. I just saw the replay and thought, maybe you could have called it. You could have let it go. If he'd missed it, there would have been a lot more complaints, I think, and I probably would have spent a lot more time looking at it. But he made it, so it didn't matter. But it was a very dangerous one because he jumps up and forward, and that is recipe for. You almost wonder why Brown didn't jump into him, because you don't think you're making that 30-foot shot. Give yourself a chance of the odds of him making that shot versus making the 3 free throws. It's a lot better chance he makes those free throws than the 3-point shot, but you never tell him the odds, I guess.
Can we also talk about the really shrewd coaching move by Danny Sprinkle? Their top player is in foul trouble, and the first play Utah State does on offense is go right at their top player who's already in foul trouble and gets him fouled out of the game.
Yeah, well, they did that with Omar Stanley. I don't know if they did it on purpose with him, but then they get it with Pope. So, yeah, and I think that really did impact over. Oh, was it Hill?
It was Hill.
Oh, yeah, Hill's the one who had the 21.
Right.
Pope had a decent game. I'm confusing because they're both named Isaiah. Yeah, that's certainly a good move there, and it altered overtime, I think, where that was a guy who was getting buckets. He wasn't shooting particularly well from outside, but inside the arc, he was getting to the rim and getting layups. So I think that really helped the Aggies force a couple more misses in overtime that allowed them to eventually have a chance for a game-winning shot, which Darius Brown ended up having.
Yeah, primary ball handler gets fouled out of the game, and then it's everybody else not quite as efficient handling the ball, and you could tell Fresno State was just a little bit different team in overtime. All right, we got to take another time out. Always love to hear from you as well. 435-339-0321 on the Full Court Press text line.
Hello, I am Garrett Tanner, Operations Manager at Cache Valley Bank. With 20 years of banking experience, I strive to use my knowledge to help small businesses overcome any challenges they may face, no matter how complex. My customers are important to me, and I take a genuine interest in understanding their lives. Come visit me at our mall branch or give me a call. I'd love to get to know you and show you what opening an account at Cache Valley Bank can do for you. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Do you have a fireplace or stove that isn't working right? Don't wait until winter to get it fixed. Get ahead of the game and get your fireplace or stove serviced now by the best of Northern Utah winter, Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They service everything from Quadra-Fire pellet stoves to heat and glow fireplaces. Get a 20% discount on your next service and labor when you mention this ad. Call 752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com. Advanced Fireplace and Stove, where comfort is their business.
A player shooting from the three-point line shows confidence, just like the confidence you'll show when you decide to have a vasectomy. If you're thinking about getting a vasectomy, the healthcare teams at Franklin County Medical Center in Preston are ready. A vasectomy is a highly effective form of contraception, and that means less stress for family planning. The recovery time is short. Talk to the experts at Franklin County Medical Center in Preston about your vasectomy. Quick appointments are available. Start by visiting fcmc.org today.
This is Nate Lamson with Valley Office Systems, your home team when local matters. Valley Office Systems is your local provider for all things office, copiers, printers, furniture, and document management. Proudly serving Cache Valley since 2007. Visit valleyofficesystems.com.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You are sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
It doesn't matter who you root for. The Full Court Press has all the high school sports covered. The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. Yeah, big win last night for the Utah State Aggies, at least in that they got the win after trailing and struggling offensively for stretches in that second half, but winning in overtime 77-73. And it was a very exciting night throughout the Mountain West last night. That wasn't the only overtime game. UNLV beating Wyoming 75-69 in OT. Nevada with the game winner from half court at Colorado State, 77-74. And Boise State blew up Air Force, 79-48. And then San Jose, they had San Diego State, I wouldn't say on the ropes, but they kept it close. Yeah, they kept it close for most of the game.
Yeah, they made it tougher on San Diego State than I think the Aztecs were expecting, in some similar ways to Fresno State with Utah State, but I don't know if San Jose State took a lead at any point late in that game. Because the thing is, the Aggies didn't actually ever trail against Fresno State until there were about 9 minutes left in the game. Like, as bad as the Aggies were playing in a lot of stretches, they were either ahead by a couple of possessions and there were a few points where it were tied. And even then, in the last 9 minutes, the Aggies still took the lead a couple of times. It's just like in the last minute, they were down by 4. And that's what kind of required that miracle little mini rally, if you will.
San Diego State wins their game 72-64. But in the outcomes, how it affected the net rankings today is weird. San Diego State did not move. They stayed at 18. New Mexico didn't play last night. They moved up one. Boise State, after blowing out Air Force, they moved up 5 spots from 31 up to 26.
Yeah. Boise State, like, these computer metrics love Boise State because over their last, 4 games or so, they are beating the tar out of whoever they're facing. Now, it's usually been Fresno and Air Force and San Jose State and a bunch of these easier teams, theoretically. And credit to them, they did what the Aggies couldn't. The Aggies, of course, Boise State only won at Fresno by 4. So Boise did a lot better at home. But it's this is where I think the biggest flaw in the net is, and that's where there's the kind of the accusations thrown at the Big 12, where if you just beat up on bad teams, the net rewards that. And the Aggies benefited from that last year, mind you. Utah State benefited from that system last year. That's how they ended up in the teens. I think at one point they were top 15 in the net. They had no business being there. But they were that high because they were blowing out teams. And obviously, had some good wins as well. So Boise State's jumping really high because of the net.
Yeah, Boise State's last 4 games, 90-66, 82-50, 92-72, 79-48. And so they've been jumping in the standings. Utah State wins last night, and they lose 6 spots in the net.
They didn't get the style points. They won by 5 in overtime, and they dropped. San Diego State, they're even higher where it's even more competitive. They were a 20-point favorite. Utah State was like a 10-point favorite.
Yeah, so it's a little weird.
So, again, that's where the net, for me, you use the net as a general guideline and not a good ranking system. Because again, dating back to last year where I was skeptical of the Aggies' high rank then. And this year, I feel like it's been a little more accurate because, the Aggies aren't super high, but they aren't, super low. I think they're about where they probably should be in the net this year. But it's the way it treats some teams, where I keep saying it over and over. You get style points in the net. And they count a lot.
Yeah, we're seeing the evidence of that.
Yeah, you can't argue against it. You get style points. You beat the last place team in the net by 100 points, and you'll move up a lot.
Right.
Because it gives you that credit.
5338 texting in. Zonk Wilson has been given permission to seek a trade. That raises the question, isn't it teams and not players that negotiate trades? Yeah, I heard that at the top of the hour. He's been given permission to seek a trade.
Well, the thing is that I don't know if this happened before, but it's evolving into players, setting up these trades or finding someone to reach out and say, all right, are you interested in me? Maybe it's the team kind of just, I guess, pawning off the responsibility of finding a trade target to the player and agent, more specifically the agent.
Right. Yeah.
But even then, they have to go out and find somebody, and then they have to basically play matchmaker and figure out a trade. Otherwise, the team still holds all the cards. They're the ones who are going to negotiate what we're actually willing to take in return for giving up Zach Wilson. They're not going to give him away for free.
No.
Unless they cut him. I don't know. That's possible. Trades in the NFL are kind of weird. A lot of them don't make sense.
He's still on his rookie contract, so.
Yeah. But you also don't have to, there's nothing like trade matching, and it seems like you trade a decently good player for a 6th round pick. So it's I don't know if Zach Wilson's worth anything. Jets may end up just cutting him because nobody's going to be willing. They'll give him they're going to look at a conditional 6th or 7th round pick is probably what Zach Wilson is worth at this point. Which isn't a dog on him because there's former All-Pros who get traded for that when they're late in their career. It's just kind of how trades in the NFL go.
All right, we've got to take another time out here in the Full Court Press. Love to hear from you today. That dramatic win for Utah State last night. We'll give an update on the standings in the Mountain West Conference and what that might look like, again, for the Mountain West Conference tournament. Continue to look at that. as we're approaching the final week of the regular season. 435-339-0321.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
It's never too late or too cold to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it so easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles by paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. If you have metal, DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
Beezer Lock and Key specializes in securing your world with their expertise in locks, keys, and hardware. Every aspect of their services is meticulously tailored to ensure your safety. They offer a vast selection of hardware brands and access control options along with custom master key systems. With Beezer Lock and Key, you have control of your facility's access 24/7. For 28 years, Beezer has provided top-notch security solutions that stand unmatched in the industry. Visit 4th North, 1st West in Logan or go to beezerlock.com to discover more.
Want to set yourself apart from the competition? The Leadership MBA at Utah State University will help you lead companies and drive change in your organization. You can attend in person in Logan on Thursday evenings or take an interactive online class. Complete your MBA in as little as a year. Apply before March 1st to be considered for summer semester. Contact the MBA office for a waiver of the $55 application fee. Learn more at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com.
Join the show by calling 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
It's happening now. It's the best time of the year to stock up on oil during the Napa Gold Filter Sale. It starts March 1st and it goes through the 15th. So I guess it's not technically now. It's still got to wait a day or two. But starts March 1st. That's 5 quarts of Napa Premium Synthetic Blend or Napa Gold Filter for just $21. So lots of other great deals going on at their Gold Filter Sale. Big win for Utah State last night to stay on top of the standings in the Mountain West. Now, Boise State is technically still tied with the Aggies. And if the season ended today, both Utah State and Boise State would have a share of the title. But for seeding purposes for the conference tournament, Utah State would be number 1. But Boise State would still claim a share of the Mountain West regular season title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's how it works. Like they don't award the trophy to one team based off tiebreakers. They award seeding based off of it. So, I mean, it was like in 2019, the Aggies got a share with Nevada, even though Nevada won the tiebreak. I don't know how that tiebreaker ended up getting solved, because the head-to-head record was 1-1. But that's how it would work.
Yes.
You don't really complain about that. Nobody really cares about shared and outright titles.
No.
Like, it's nice to have an outright title, but you get a share of one, you roll with it. Trophy
if you
goes
put
in
the banner up, it doesn't have a little asterisk where it says shared with so-and-so.
It's like, you're the champion. That's how it goes.
Yeah. But Utah State 11-4 in conference play. Same with Boise. San Diego State 11-5, a half game behind them. Nevada and UNLV at 10-5. So very tight race still. New Mexico 9-6. Colorado State has now dropped to 8-8 in conference play.
Colorado State having a collapse here, almost kind of like New Mexico and or UNLV had last year, except just where they just ran into Mountain West play and got hit by the buzzsaw. I think the Rams are still looking at an NCAA tournament bid, but things are looking tricky for them.
Yeah, now they're on the bubble. I think they're in bubble territory. I did look up Bracket Matrix earlier today. UNLV is now starting to appear on some people's brackets.
Really?
So 7 teams out of the Mountain West.
They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. Colorado State, what were they? Because they were like in 7-seed territory. That's where I feel like they're still in. Like maybe dropping into 8-seed, but like they reached such high highs in the non-conference schedule, and then were decent for at least a portion of
right. They've
play.
Flirted in and out of the top 25 rankings.
Yeah, so
they just can't stay there.
Yeah, and then they're just getting beat up by the Mountain West schedule.
All right, we'll continue to talk about Utah State and the Mountain West. Next hour, stick around with us. We'll also give an update on what's happened with the high school basketball playoffs for both boys and girls. And then these stadium deals, trying to lure professional baseball and hockey to the state of Utah, and the latest developments in that next on the Full Court Press.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Ever since the NFL Combine was created in 1982, NFL teams have put a massive amount of emphasis on a player's speed. But as we've continued to collect more data, blazing 40-yard times, far from an indication of potential future success. Former Washington receiver John Ross holds the record of 4.22. He's never had over 510 yards in receiving in a single season. How about the former Steeler receiver, Dree Archer? He lasted just 2 seasons. He ran a 4.26. A fellow 4.2 guy like Jacoby Ford, J.J. Nelson, Tyquan Thornton have all failed to accumulate over 600 yards receiving in a single season. Of course, there have been some outliers. Running back Chris Johnson and current Seahawks cornerback Tariq Woolen have had standout careers. But when you start to look at the list of 4.2 guys, straight line speed doesn't appear to guarantee anything in the NFL. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise.